Alright, let's talk about the progression of this pickguard. Originally, I tried to just wing it and make a pickguard out of my daughter's favorite anime character, Deku, I don't know how to say it, but My Hero Academia is the show, and this is what she loves. This is her favorite character, so I decided to make a pickguard for her out of this character. Um, Winging it, not the best idea. I'll show you what I did in the slicer and in Tinkercad on my version of this pickguard. So this one didn't work very well because it doesn't come all the way where it's supposed to, and the screw holes, none of that was helpful, so garbage. And then I redid it, and I'll show you how I did it attempt number 2 and number 3 really. Attempt number 2, much better, lines up really well, but I don't want to jam it in there too hard. I forgot to flip the negative of the guitar to put the little holes in and to make the contouring and stuff like that. I didn't flip it, so the holes are in the wrong spots. Could I just drill new holes and use this anyway? Yes, I can. Am I gonna? No, I'm kind of a little bit of a perfectionist, not like overkill, but I can't do it. So, garbage. And attempt number 3, I went ahead and flipped it over, the negative design of this guitar and the pickguard. And then when you put it in here, the screw holes line up exactly where they need to be, and everything fits perfectly fine. I did have to make a tiny modification right here to the corner of the pickguard. That's because the knobs, these are volume knobs that I found on Maker World, or printables, I don't remember. I'll share the link. But anyway, I found these really cute volume knobs that they go all the way to 11. And they have like little pictures on. This one's lightning, this one's a star, this one's a dead face, skull, heart, gaming. That's another skull. I modified it to make the thing longer, which I found out later I didn't even need to do. But so I made this a little bit too big because my volume knob, when it was on here, it didn't fit. So I clipped it with a pair of shop clippers, and then I used Dremel to just round it out very nice and smooth, so there wasn't like any rough spots on there. This is the knob that's chosen. It's a gaming paddle. That's gonna go on here. I thought this color was kind of cute. Might even like color the gaming paddle in black as well, or maybe even like hot pink or something. So yeah, that's the pickguard. Gonna go over the slicer settings and how I did this coming up.
Let's talk about this pickguard. What I did is I went initially and I found the design of the guitar online. Um, After I downloaded it, right here you can see these are Tasmaniac's designs. I downloaded the guitar and I downloaded the pickguard. Pickguard is free. I picked out this Goodbye Kitty one only to find out my daughter didn't want it. So, but I downloaded it anyway because I needed the pattern of where the holes are, because they're already pre-designed into the body of the guitar. So downloaded the guitar here, downloaded the pickguard here. Then I needed to figure out what she would like to have as her pickguard. So she told me what she likes. She likes this anime show, My Hero Academia, and her favorite character is Deku. So I found a picture of Deku online that didn't have too many colors. I do have a Cobra 3 from Anycubic that can color 8 colors, or print 8 colors, I should say. Um, so I needed a design in anime that didn't have more than 8 colors. This is very hard to do. Anime is a very colorful world. So I did find one. I took a screenshot of it to use right here for my fan art. And what I did was I uploaded it into Maker World. They have a tool. Let me see if I can find it. I think it was Make My Sign, if I'm not mistaken, in the Maker Lab. Maker World has all these really cool tools. A lot of the printer websites have these tools. They're not all the same, but this is the one I chose to use was from Maker World, even though I don't have any bamboo printers. That's right. I don't have any bamboo printers. I just refuse to spend that much money on a hobby. I think it was, where is it? This one. I use this Make My Sign. I wonder if they save your work. Oh yeah, they do, look. This is a different one. Maybe I used the keychain. That one had way more than 8 colors. Let me see, maybe I used image to keychain. Let's see. Oh yeah, right there. Keychain draft. Okay. So I did, sorry, in the Maker Lab, I used image to keychain. Create from blank. Well, you could see it in the list. Let me go back. I'll show you. Right here. This is my keychain draft. But basically what you would do is you create from blank. Then over here, you click over here and you upload your image. Where is it? It's under, oh, no, that's not SG, right here. So open your image here, and then it's going to ask you, what ratio you want it in. Do you want to keep the background or ditch the background? How thick do you want this image to be? You can adjust all this type of stuff in here before it even gets to your slicer. Then you click confirm when you're happy with your choices, and it's going to ask you how many colors. This is what it would look like roughly with 4 colors and using these colors that they chose. I have 8 colors, so this is roughly what it looks like with 8 colors and the colors that they chose. They try to pick out colors that closely match this design using bamboo filaments. I don't buy bamboo filament, don't have a bamboo machine, but you can use anything you want. You don't have to use bamboo. Confirm. All right. So in here, you would go to plate and thickness, this button right here. You can do face down mode if you'd like to print face down, which is actually what I'm going to do. That actually, what it does is instead of leaving the back side of this model as solid one color, it's going to put each one of these parts as an object that goes all the way to the plate on the printer. So it's going to look the same on the front and the back. Then you can come in here to colors and you can pick out whatever color. You could change these colors to any color you want based on what colors you have in your shop. So if you have a green that's more like a hunter green, you can change it. So that's what I did. And then when you're all done, you click this download button. I'll show you what happens when you download it. It gives you this little thing. If you're going to post this online, make sure that you attribute this tool. So you do this little copy thing here, and you copy this wording and this right here, And when you post it online, you have to give credit to the tool for helping you design it. So that's how I got the pickguard design. Now, if I wanted just a regular old plate, or something like a light box or something, I'm going to print really thin or use transparent colors. I've done that before. This comes out great if you're using it for a light box design. Anyway, I'm going off the rails here with the topic. Um, let's go back to the pickguard itself and how I took that STL of Deku, and turned it into a pickguard. So after I did that, I went ahead and downloaded the keychain draft right here and open it with my Anycubic Slicer Next. It will open someday. There we go. Now, initially, when this opens up, it's going to tell me, hey, this is made for bamboo printers with a 0.4 nozzle and yada yada. And these will all be listed as bamboo filaments. And even this will be like a bamboo, you know, 0.2 layer height, whatever, whatever. All you do is you click in here and see it says Bamboo Lab A1 Mini. That's initially what it downloads as. You just flip it back over to your printer and your settings, discard whatever was in there. Same thing with all of the filaments. You can change them from the bamboo PLA to whatever your custom filaments or your, if you're using stock settings from Anycubic. Just go ahead and pick out whatever it is you like. I have my own custom settings in here, of course, so I just change all these to mine. That way I know exactly what temperature, retraction, um, speeds, all the things are going to be what I usually use for my machine, because my machine is not a bamboo machine. So I'm going to use my own settings that I've tweaked for my own purposes. All right, so you can see on the screen over here, oh, also I have to change this from whatever this bamboo thing is to your own custom settings, or if you're going to use the Anycubic settings right there. Anyway, so you can see over here I have some dark gray matter on my plate. That's because these are negatives, negative spaces that I'm going to use to create holes in this sign. So this is just a flat sign. The color you can see goes front to back. Yes, it's printing upside down. I know, if it bothers you, just rotate it. In the objects list on the left, not like Prusa the Slicer on the right, but over here in Orca, we're on the left. This is every single little dart on this picture, and it's asking me what color I want to make those. So even if in the keychain maker on Maker World, I set the color to a certain color, I can change it in the slicer at this time. And I actually did that. If you look at my design on Maker World, oh, I closed it. Hold on. Yeah, if you look at my design on Maker World, you could see that it's brown back here. And I switched it up right before I printed it. I switched it up to orange. So everything that was brown, I turned orange, and that's because my daughter decided that she liked that better. She saw me making this and she was like, oh, actually orange would look better, Mom. So, hey, here we are. Switch from brown to orange. So all I did was come over here in the objects list, pick out everything that said brown in here, and just change it to orange. Another thing I did right here in this settings, it's not going to let me click on it because the negative thing is in the way. Ugh, being a pain in the butt here. Let me just move this out of the way. There we go. This little button over here in Anycubic Next, you can actually tell the machine what colors to print first, second, third, fourth, fifth, eighth, right here in this little menu. The reason I choose to print the lighter color first all the way to the darkest color last is because if there's any kind of stringing or oozing that's coming off of the nozzle, or if there's anything stuck on the tip of it, you want it to be printing from a lighter color if white is stuck to the nozzle, and then I'm going to go print peach. It's not going to be as bad as if I was printing black and now I'm going to print peach. That's going to look horrible. It's going to ruin my print. So I always, when I'm doing something like this, I make sure that it prints lightest to darkest. What other little tidbits can I tell you about this design or about these slicer settings in Anycubic Next? These are my custom settings. They're very similar to the ones that I have in Prusa. If you notice, my layer height is 0.16. That's my favorite. And this is my width, my layer width, or my line width, not layer width. Again, using the scarf joint seams set to nearest. That's my favorite too. Anything that's not sharp corners, really scarf joint's the way to go. Any rounded material. Strength for this, you don't really need a crazy amount of infill, so I just have it set to 7%. There's really only like 2 layers on here that are infill layers, so honestly, it doesn't matter. It's not like this is going to be used for strength. It's just going to be scratched on. Walls, not really that important, but my default is 3. My top shell thickness and my bottom shell thickness, I usually always have these set to 0.6. That's going to tell the computer that, hey, I want my top shell layer to be at least 0.6 before you start filling up or leaving, I should say, hollow spaces. I want a solid 0.6 plastic on the top, and then I also do the same for the bottom. I want a solid 0.6 bottom. Everything in the middle is called infill. Infill is spaced out. It has holes, it has gaps, it has air. And then down here below, you can tell it how much air to allow, or how much plastic, I should say the opposite, to infill. So, and then you can also pick a pattern. I always pick gyroid or 3D honeycombs. The reason is because of strength for 3D honeycomb, and gyroid is because anything that's like a straight up grid is sometimes can make your nozzle drag when it's crossing straight, harsh lines like that. So I always stay away from the straightest, harshest lines. Go with something more flowy. Anyway, oh, my wall overlap, infill wall overlap 25%. It's a little bit high. It's because sometimes you'll see around holes, there'll be like a little bit of a gap between the wall and the hole, and so I bumped it up based on test prints that I did. Speed. The speed on here is pretty standard. 300 for inner walls, 200 for outer walls. Sparse infill at 300. This printer can print up to 600. Yep. Do I want to print that fast? No, especially not for something that's like fine details like this. I want this to come out nice and crisp. I don't want this to come out like just get it done and hurry up. Lines and sloppiness all over the place. This is this is art. This is not a tool. So yeah. Okay, so let's talk about this negative shape that you can see here. These dark shaded spots. Those are spots that I'm telling the software, don't print here. This was a solid sign that I downloaded from MakerWorld. Now we have this negative area. I made the negative area using Tinkercad. So I upload the guitar shape, and then I had to swallow it with a cube and then turn the guitar into a negative and then merge it. So what it did was it cut out from a solid cube the shape of the guitar. And I only wanted just the top little bit of it. So that's what I did. Then I exported this as an STL. And then in here, all you have to do is upload it. Right here, it says pickguard negative. Yep, upload it like that. There it is. So this is a positive, actually, I'm sorry. I didn't load this as a negative. 1 second. Right click on the sign and then click add negative part and upload it there. My bad. There, now it comes in as a negative instead of a positive. If it was positive, then it's going to print these little spots instead of carving them out. But anyway, then you place that wherever you want on your design. Now on this particular design, if you're printing this guitar, the holes in it are in these spots, and this should be on the top because that's where the hole is. If you're printing it face down, you have to flip it over, the negative as well as your picture. So that's how I did it. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. I also threw this in here just to give it a rounded shape instead of just this really harsh rectangle. If I wanted to print with a prime tower on to try to decrease some of the oozing and stuff from the nozzle, you can do that. You just have to rotate the sign so that it's up and down instead of left, right. Yeah, like that. And then put this giant donut in here just to round the corners off. Now, what you're going to see in my next part of this video is the spot on this design where the volume knob is going to be. You may want to measure your volume knob with a set of calipers and see exactly where it's going to land on here. And then carve out a little negative spot for your volume knob. Okay, let's talk about that volume knob. This is where I got the design. It's Maker World, and this is the name of the design, Guitar Knobs. They go to 11. These designs are adorable. I love them. I'll show you what they look like in closer up, like in the slicer, so you can really see it. And I apologize if you can hear like the sickness in my voice. I am under the weather a little bit, so you might hear me cough a little or clear my throat a little or take a bunch of drinks or whatever. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum for you guys, but also want to get these videos out since the questions have been pouring in. All right, so here it is. This is what these knobs look like. I think it's really cute. Again, got to change this over to, I'm not going to print it, so I might as well not change it. But let's say I wanted to print these in that cyan color that I printed in. Let me see. Neither one of these are the exact color that I used. This is very close. And you also wanted to do something like print them in multicolor. you can do that on the printer instead of hand painting them. Let's just take an example of this gaming paddle one or the skull one. Oops, sorry about that. Didn't mean to make you dizzy. But here we go. All right. So this gaming paddle, if I wanted the gaming paddle itself to be a different color, I can do that right here. Just use my painting tool and the fill option and click it in, and then boom, I got a hot pink gaming paddle, and it's printed in plastic pink, and it's not, painted. Paint can wear off. Plastic's not gonna. So if I want the computer or my printer to make this in hot pink, and I have a roll of hot pink plastic in the basement or my shop, then yeah, I can do that. I can also color in the numbers in here. So you can go around and just click these and color them in with plastic instead of hand painting. Could totally do that. Now, what is the difference? Why might somebody hand paint it instead of just doing it this way? Because I'm cheap sometimes. Yeah, so if you just do this in one color, it's going to cost a lot less money if you are to multicolor print this. This one's being a PETA. Hello. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea, right? If we wanted to, oops, have these print in color rather than paint them with your hand, you could do it. So let's see what the difference is. I'll show you real quick. I can get rid of all these other ones that I don't want. Over here in the object list, I just click the top one, then shift click to the bottom of the list, and then right click and hit delete. And I'm going to do that for the other knobs below my controller paddle. Now I'm left with just the controller. All right. It's always a good idea to have your prime tower on. The reason being is because it builds the pressure up correctly in the nozzle after flushing the color out. So it's going to, multicolor printing will, when it gets to the layer that needs to switch colors, it needs to flush the old color out of the nozzle before it adds a new color to the nozzle. Oh, this is the wrong profile. There we go. I just confused everything on my software. It's like, what is going on? I don't understand. All right, so it's got to flush out the old color, put in a new color, and then when it does that, it loses a little bit of what they call prime, losing prime, right? I don't know if you've ever heard that. Um, you have to kind of prime it back up so it gets the right pressure back in the nozzle. You won't have any stringing and oozing in between movements. So here's what the difference is. Instead of hand painting this knob, and I'm going to let the printer print it in color, it's going to take 43 minutes, 53 seconds, so we'll say 44 minutes to print. It's going to use a total of 4 grams of plastic. Sorry, excuse me. And then about 10 cents. Let's go back and show you what that looks like without any painting. All right, it takes 18 minutes to print this knob, and it costs 7 cents. and it only uses 2.6 grams of plastic. So yeah, I'm gonna print this in monocolor and hand paint it. Do I care if it costs a whole 10 cents? Not really, I'm not that cheap. But if this were a very much larger project, it's going to be very much larger dollars. And that makes a huge difference. So in this tiny project, didn't make much of a difference, but in a bigger project, sure. I'm definitely going to do it one color, hand paint it. Anyway, so that's the knob. Okay, I'm going to do a really quick slicer coloring 101 because somebody had asked me for it. So real quick, this is some of the tools that are available to use to color. Earlier on the pickguard, I showed how some items break down their model into objects. So if this paddle was an object, it would be listed over here in the objects list. And you can right click it here and change the filament color here. You can right click the model and change the filament color here if you want to change it for the whole model. So yeah, that's how to change color for certain objects or parts of your model or your print. Now, if you don't have that, like this project doesn't have it, it's one object and it's one color. You use these tools like you saw me do just a minute ago, but I'm going to show you all of them instead of just the fill. The fill option only fills in the top, like I want to say 2 layers of filament. So if it's probably like 0.3 thickness or something. This slider bar right here is the angle in which that you're selecting. So if I have this down at a very small angle and I click in here, it's going to color just that piece that I clicked on. If I have this at a very large angle, it's going to fill a lot more surface area. So that's a little bit about fill. So like you saw earlier when I filled the paddle top, you could see right there that it's not going to fill the entire paddle all the way down. I can click this and here, and fill these in with color, sure. But again, it's only going to do like a 0.3 depth. And that's just a guesstimate. It's very shallow. I want to say it's like two layers thick, and my line thickness is only a 0.16, so I'm guessing that that's about how thick it's going to go. You can even see it if you slice it and you start moving the slice each layer, and you can look at each layer all the way down from the top of your model all the way down to the base. Each little layer of plastic, you could see it in the slicer after you slice. I'm not going to show it just yet, but another one of the tools is height range. So you can paint by height range. So you could tell it, okay, I want you to paint like 1 millimeter high. And then click wherever you want that millimeter to start one time. And it's going to paint that 1 millimeter. I didn't get all the way to the bottom. You could also click and hold and drag it, and it will paint 1 millimeter at a time as you move it up and down. That will actually paint all the way through your model. See how it comes all the way through to the other side? The entire layer is going to print this color, not just the top surface of it like it does with the fill. The other thing is triangle painting. Meshes are designed in triangles. That's why you can never get like an actual perfect circle or sphere in here. You get really close if you increase the number of triangles in your model. So if you look, you can see each triangle of this design, and you can paint it just like that. Did it go all the way through? No. Again, it's like a surface thing, but it's great for filling in cracks. The other thing is this sphere. just how it sounds. It's a sphere. But when you click and you paint with it, it does have a depth to it. It didn't go all the way through. This is probably a really thick part here, but it did go through a few layers. In the slicer, you'll be able to see it after I slice this model. Over here is the circle tool. The circle tool is also a very shallow tool. So I'll show you like right here. You can freehand paint things on the surface. Very shallow. It doesn't go through all the way to the back. So that's a little 101 on how to paint in the slicer. This one, gap fill. Gap fill's great if you have like little cracks between your painting. Like here, how I painted this top and I painted this bottom. Sorry, my daughter won't stop texting. If I just go ahead and click here and drag around the mouse while I'm holding it down, it's going to fill in the little crack right here on the edge of the paddle. So this is pink, but remember it's just a really light surface. This little edge here is not pink really. You could see the blue through it. So when you do gap fill, it helps fill a gap. Just how it sounds. All right, so that's a little 101 on how to paint. Let's go ahead and slice it and I'll show you how each one of those things turns out on a layer by layer look. So here's our top layer. So that paddle is so thin that it was able to actually paint all the way through it. That's really cool. But you could see here where I used the, what did I use here? I forget. Was it the sphere? I don't remember. But anyway, you can see how that went only so deep. And then this is where we did that color by layer. It goes all the way through the model. This was that sphere. You can see it just like a ball, deeper and then shallow. Oh, this is where I colored with this circle. That's circle coloring. Very shallow. 2 layers. It was 2 layers high. But yeah, so that's Painting 101, as requested. If you like the video, give it a like, thumbs up, and please subscribe.